There is a moment, and most people who've lived it remember it exactly, when the money from something you built on your own hits your account for the first time. Not a paycheck, not a salary, not someone else deciding what your time is worth. Your money, your terms. This is the side hustle journey, from the first dollar you made outside of a job to the day you walked into work and never came back. Every level, every shift, every number that changes everything. Let's begin. Level 1. Monthly side income, 0 the starting line. At level 1, you don't have a side hustle. You have an idea. Maybe it's freelancing your skills. Maybe it's selling something online. Maybe it's a service your neighborhood actually needs. It lives in your notes app, or in your head at 11 p.m. when you should be sleeping. The problem at level 1 is not the idea. It's the gap between thinking and doing. Most people never leave level 1, not because the idea was bad, but because the first step feels too uncertain, too small, too embarrassing to take seriously. Here's the truth about level 1. The quality of your idea does not matter yet. Starting matters. The side hustle that earns $50 in its first month will teach you more than the perfect plan you spent 6 months perfecting and never launched. At level 1, your only job is to begin. Level 2, the first dollar. Monthly side income, $1, $100, or something changes when a stranger pays you for something you made or did. Not your employer, not a family member doing you a favor. A stranger. Who found you? Who chose you? That first dollar, whether it's $12 or $85, carries a psychological weight that has nothing to do with its face value. It is proof. Proof that what you built has value in the real world. Proof that someone other than you believes in what you're offering. At level 2, most people make one of 2 mistakes. The first, they celebrate and coast. They tell everyone about the $50 they made and treat it like an arrival. The second, they dismiss it. They say it's too small to matter and lose momentum before the engine ever starts. The right move is neither. The right move is to ask one question. How do I do that again? Level 3, the grind. Monthly side income, $100, $500. Level 3 is unglamorous. You are working a full-time job and building something on the side. Evenings, weekends, lunch breaks. The hour before your alarm goes off. Your social life takes a hit. Your sleep takes a hit. Your patience with people who don't understand what you're building takes a hit. This is the level that separates the people who actually build something from the people who say they want to. At $100 to $500 a month, the money isn't life-changing, but the discipline is. You are training yourself to produce without permission, to show up without a manager, to keep going without a guaranteed outcome. That skill set, that internal operating system, is worth more than the income at this stage. The people who quit at level 3 almost always quit for the same reason. They expected the results to arrive faster than the work did. Stay in level 3 long enough, and level 4 becomes inevitable. Level 4, the signal. Monthly side income, $500, $1,000. $500 a month. It doesn't sound like much until you realize what it actually represents. It's a car payment. It's your phone bill, your subscriptions, and your groceries combined. It's a round-trip flight somewhere you've been wanting to go. But more importantly, and it's a signal. At $500 a month, the market is telling you something is working. This is the level where most side hustlers make a critical decision. Consciously or not, they either systematize what's working, or they stay stuck trading time for dollars with no ceiling in sight. The ones who break through level 4 start asking different questions. Not, how do I do more of this? But how do I build this so it runs without me doing all of it? Packaging, pricing, automation, delegation. At $500 a month, you have proof of concept. The only question now is how far you're willing to take it. Level 5, the turn. Monthly side income, $1,000, $2,000. $1,000 a month from something you built. This is the turn. Not because of what $1,000 buys, but because of what it means for the math. At $1,000 a month, your side hustle has crossed the threshold of being a serious financial force in your life. It can cover your rent contribution, your student loan payment, your entire car note. More importantly, it now rivals the raises most employers hand out in a year. At level 5, the identity shift begins. You stop calling it a side hustle in conversation. You start calling it your business. And that shift in language changes how you treat it, how you invest in it, and how seriously other people take it. $1,000 a month is not the finish line. It's the first moment you can clearly see where the road leads. Level 6, the Crossroads. Monthly side income, $2,000, $4,000. At level 6, something uncomfortable happens. Your side hustle starts to compete with your job, not just for your time, but for your attention, your energy, and your identity. $2,000 a month is $24,000 a year. For many people, that is a third of their salary, produced entirely outside of their employment. And the job, which once felt like stability, starts to feel like a ceiling. This is the crossroads. The safe path says, keep both. Let the side income stack. Don't risk the benefits, the salary, the security. The other path says, the longer you split your focus, the longer both things stay half-built. There is no universal right answer here. But there is a wrong one, and it's making the decision out of fear rather than math. At level 6, run the numbers, not the feelings. What does your runway look like if you went all in? How many months of expenses do you have saved? What is the realistic upside if you gave it everything? Fear will always make the leap look impossible. The spreadsheet usually tells a different story. Level 7, the commitment. Monthly side income, $4,000, $6,000, $4,000 a month. At this level, most people make a move. Not necessarily quitting, but committing in a way they haven't before. They reinvest. They hire their first contractor. They build the thing that's been on the back burner because there was never enough time or money to do it right. Level 7 is where the side hustle stops. Being something you do and becomes something you run. The mindset shift is stark. You are no longer the worker. You are the owner. That distinction between doing the work and building the system that does the work is the single most important transition in the entire side hustle journey. Most people never make it. The ones who do always trace their breakthrough back to one decision they made at this exact level. Level 8, the replacement. Monthly side income, $6,000, $10,000. $6,000 a month, $72,000 a year. For the majority of people reading this, that number just replaced your salary. This is level 8, the replacement. The moment when the income from what you built matches or exceeds the income from what you were hired to do. The math no longer supports staying, but leaving still feels terrifying because the job was never just a paycheck. It was a routine, an identity, a social structure, a safety net. Giving that up, even when the numbers say to, requires a kind of courage that spreadsheets can't fully prepare you for. At level 8, the question is no longer financial. It's personal. Who are you without the title? Without the stability? Without the fallback? The people who answer that question before they leave, who have built their identity around what they're going towards, not just what they're leaving, are the ones who don't look back. Monthly side income, $6,000, $10,000. $6,000 a month, $72,000 a year. For the majority of people reading this, that number just replaced your salary. This is level 8, the replacement. The moment when the income from what you built matches or exceeds the income from what you were hired to do. The math no longer supports staying, but leaving still feels terrifying because the job was never just a paycheck. It was a routine, an identity, a social structure, a safety net. Giving that up, even when the numbers say to, requires a kind of courage that spreadsheets can't fully prepare you for. At level 8, the question is no longer financial. It's personal. Who are you without the title? Without the stability? Without the fallback? The people who answer that question before they leave, who have built their identity around what they're going towards, not just what they're leaving, are the ones who don't look back. Level 9, the exit. The day you quit. There are very few days in a person's financial life that they remember with the clarity of the day they quit, the specific time they walked in, the exact words they used, the feeling in the car afterward, somewhere between terror and freedom, with no clean word for the space in between. At level 9, the exit is not a celebration. It is a bet. A bet on yourself placed with real stakes, with real consequences if it doesn't work. And that is exactly why it matters. Because every level of real growth in life requires you to put something on the line. The side hustle journey has been building to this moment since the first dollar. Every late night, every missed event, every time you kept going when the results felt invisible. It all compresses into this one decision. And the most remarkable thing about level 9 is not the courage it takes to leave. It's the clarity it takes to know you're ready. Level 10, the other side. Monthly income, 10,000 plus, full-time, full ownership. On the other side of the exit, the world looks different. Your Monday morning is yours. Your calendar answers to you. not to a meeting someone else scheduled. Your income has a ceiling only if you build one. At level 10, the side hustle is no longer a side hustle. It is your livelihood, your vehicle, your asset. And the most surreal part of level 10 is looking back at level 1, at the idea sitting in your notes app, at the $50 that felt too small to matter, and understanding that every single step was necessary. There was no shortcut to this. The grind was the education. The doubt was the filter. The money was never the point. The freedom was outro. Most people will spend their entire lives waiting for permission to build something of their own, permission from their employer, from their bank account, from the right moment that somehow never arrives. But the people at level 10, the ones who got out, they didn't wait for permission. They started with an idea. They made their first dollar. They stayed in the grind.